Good morning, LaDawn, and good morning to you, Bahamas. Also, a special happy Friday to everyone watching at home. Today's traffic report comes to you live from Sir Milo Butler Highway. We're just at that roundabout near the Shell gas station, and honestly, we can tell you that traffic seems to be moving at a pretty consistent pace here. However, if you're traveling in that lane coming out of the Carmichael area, a bit of bumper-to-bumper traffic. And if you're traveling westbound on Sir Milo Highway, then it's pretty slow pace, but otherwise traffic seems to be moving pretty lightly in all the other lanes. Now joining us today as ever is Sergeant Crestania Johnson of the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Unit. Sergeant Johnson, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about what happened overnight.
Overnight, the traffic department investigated 5 accidents, 3 of which involved damage and 2 involved injury. We have 7 persons who remain hospitalized as a result of being involved in a traffic accident.
So obviously you guys had a busy day yesterday investigating those accidents, and also you have a few exercises going on throughout the country actually, but especially here in Nassau.
Yes.
So tell us how those exercises went.
Well, yesterday was very interesting for me. We were on the street very early in the morning, and yes, you stated it's a country exercise all around the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Officers were on the streets. Just to clear up some of the myths. The media had represented some persons who were saying that officers were citing persons who did not have their vehicle's license. This is a myth. We are going in line with the regulation. The regulation stipulates that no one is to be cited for not having a vehicle license. Now, your driver's license and your insurance for your vehicles. Now, we require your driver's license to be on your possession, whether it is up to date or not, for identification purposes. That really assists officers when we're dealing with any individual. Once we stop you, if you have your driver's license in your possession, like I said, it does not have to be valid at this time, but we ask that you have it in your possession. And any other certificate for your vehicle, that is your certificate of title or your insurance. Your insurance is required to be up to date. Because once you traverse the streets of New Providence, we want to know that you're covered to be on the street.
Well, we want to take note of that, but I want to focus in on this area here for a second. This, as you said, is a bit of a problematic area in terms of traffic, and I want you to explain why that is, especially with the weekend coming up.
Yes, well, you know, we have a limited amount of areas that persons who live in the southwestern Bahamas can get out of this area. So we find that during the morning period, there are going to be a number of vehicles trying to get out and go to their various destinations. So as a result, we have a higher volume of traffic coming from this particular area. So we're asking as much as possible when drivers are traversing this area, you do so with added caution. If you can leave out a bit earlier, we always advise persons to plan your route and to get out a bit earlier. But coming here from the Milo Butler Highway last week, we had 2 vehicles that overturned. And I know many persons can attest to tragic accidents that happen in and around this area. So as much as possible, you need to traverse this area, especially this and the Gladstone Road area. We ask you to do so with continued care and caution.
Speaking of those dangerous accidents that happened last week, we're headed into that busy weekend. As I said, everybody's going to be out on the road. The road is going to be hot. Heading towards curfew hour is going to be a bit of a rush. So what is your final message to those drivers who are going to be hitting the streets today? I mean, this weekend.
Yes. Well, what comes to mind is safety and putting your safety first. While you're driving, you're going to have to be your brother's keeper. Now, remember now, when you're using the streets, everybody is going to have to get to where they need to go. And not because you're in a rush means someone else is in a rush or anything along that line. So we're just asking you, if you're driving on the streets, if you have to go somewhere, please do not speed. Speeding has been one of the most heightened factors that we had to deal with during this COVID time. So we ask as much as possible for the general public, please slow down. Please try to get where you need to get ahead of time. Try, if you're used to leaving out like half hour before, try leaving out an hour before to get to your various destinations.
And with keeping in that speed in mind, the Royal Bahamas Police Force also want to warn you about the road conditions today. It's slick, rainy, and wet. Also going into the weekend, make sure you have that driver's license on you. As Sergeant Johnson says, make sure your vehicle is in compliance. We want you to have a safe weekend. That's all for the traffic report we have today. We're going to toss it back to you in Studio LaDawn.